you doing? This is Ivan from Bitesize Wisdom for Busy People, and I just want to thank you for joining me today. And today I'd like to share another idea to help you live a more conscious life, to help you on your journey of self-development. And today our topic is on being asleep and waking up. So in all the ancient teachings and in all of the old religious texts, we always hear about man being asleep, and they are urging us to wake up. So what are they exactly talking about, us being asleep? So all the old teachings, all the old scriptures need to be understood from a psychological point of view. So here, being asleep means psychic sleep. So what does that mean? First, I want to just start by saying that, like, if I went out into the real world and went up to 100 people and asked them, hey, wake up, you're asleep, they would look at me crazy, right? Because this here illustrates our main problem is that most of us, just because when we wake up in the morning and we open our eyes, we believe we're already awake. But the problem is that most of us are operating at the level of psychic sleep, so a type of self-hypnosis. So what are we hypnotized with? Most of us, we are completely identified to the little voice in our head, to the mental images, that through time we have created a story called me, through all our experiences, through all our memories, that most of us derive our total sense of self from this amalgamation that we have created through time. And this is a reason that the movie The Matrix, since I was very young, since the first time I saw it, it had such a big impact on me, because I think many of us that are on the spiritual journey, we sense that a lot of the movie's messages have some truth to them, and in reality they do a good job of portraying our actual situation in reality, and that most of us are asleep and that we're all in a prison that's invisible, because in our inner world, in our formless world of these psychic images, it's an invisible prison, right? So in our journey of self-development, that's one of the first things, is that we got to realize that we are in a prison, and then from that point we can try to figure out how to escape, which usually means that we need to find someone who has successfully escaped. And throughout the ages, many masters and many mystics have given us important teachings and important insights that can help us make it out this maze. So we need to wake up. So how do we wake up? Well, it needs to come from a sincere desire. So when you see that you are in a prison, and you see that this story that I call Ivan, that in reality I have not been able to make him happy, because how can you satisfy something that is essentially a mirage? And that's why it's so hard, because at the relative level, people say, what do you mean I'm not my name, my story? How can you say that? Because at the relative level, it's like being like a mirage. We can all see that it's there, but upon close investigation, we will see that in reality it has no substance, and it's not really what we believed it to be. So much in the same way, when we start going down this path, we will find out everything that's false, and by knowing what we are not, we start to go down the road of really realizing what we really truly are. And that's when our anxiety will start to go away, and we'll start to find fulfillment. So the problem is that we are so identified, and being identified is not just being identified yes or not, it's a range. Some people are identified more than others. Let's take, for example, since he's the man of the hour, Donald Trump. He is a person who is, I could say, completely fused to the self-images of what he believes his identity to be. And the problem is that when you derive your sense of self from these images at the level that he does, as you see through the play that we're seeing, this drama unfolding, is that anything that hurts that image causes a reaction in the person. You know, that's the thing, is just like in the movie The Matrix, Mr. Smith, which we can equate to our false sense of self, to our egoic mind, is that it has the uncanny ability to morph into whatever it needs to be. And its sole job is to protect itself at all costs. So that's why whenever you go on to the spiritual journey, the ego is so cunning and so sly at trying to disguise itself, because it understands that if you discover what you truly are, it means it's death. So we really have to get a deep understanding of what is not true and intrinsic to our nature. So in trying to overcome Mr. Smith, many of us will come to find that it's going to play a lot of tricks on us, or many of us will also have a sense of fear of losing this story that we call me. But I just want to say that you can only lose what's false. So even though a lot of us go through this process of where we feel afraid and stuff because we're losing this false sense of self, so for a while there it may feel like we're in no man's land, because you're starting to take your sense of self away from all these false images. So I just want to say that you can only lose what's false. What's true and intrinsic to your nature can never be lost, but you may go through a phase of being in no man's land, but soon enough, if you just continue your journey, you will come to intuitively understand what your true identity is, and you will start to also receive help and guidance from your inner guru. So how do we wake up? Is, like I said, we have to have that intense desire, because we see that we're in a prison, and we see that fulfillment will never be achieved through this false sense of identity, of being asleep to what we really are. So then we may start to seek out a spiritual journey, and through spiritual exercises such as meditation or genuine self-observation, we can start to separate what's true and what's false. So I could start to see all my inner workings in an objective way, and start to separate and disidentify from everything that I believed to be me, but was not me. It was just a conceptual amalgamation that I called Ivan. And that's another thing, is I think you should, like in the movie The Matrix with Mr. Smith, it was a movie, but a lot of us look at our ego as a bad thing. But with proper understanding, and with a different attitude, we can come to educate our ego and actually become our friend. And when we properly educate it, it can also become our ally. So you don't need to look at it as a bad thing. And once you understand what is really not you, you can just use it for worldly purposes. But at a deep level, you understand who you truly are, and you can just jump in and out of this identity that you use for the world, because if someone comes up to me and they said, "Who are you?" it's not practical for me to say, "Oh, I'm the infinite consciousness or the absolute," so we need to be practical. So that's today. That's the message for today, is to realize that you're asleep, realize all the things that are false and not intrinsic to your nature, and start the process to wake up. Whether that means that you need to find others that woke up and to start your process of finding a spiritual practice that suits your personality, that suits your learning style, and begin that important path to waking up. So that's the message for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you found that video valuable. And if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload new content, and share my video with anyone who you think will benefit from it, and smash the like button. Alright guys, take care, and I hope you're doing well. Peace.
Boca no vento.